Star Wars armor isn't just about style. It's a vital blend of cutting-edge materials and battlefield engineering that reflects the galaxy's shifting tides of war. From the earliest clone troopers to legendary lone warriors, each suit tells a story of protection, control, and identity. Let's start by diving into the first mass-produced armor that armed the Republic's clones at the dawn of the Clone Wars. Clone Trooper Phase 1 Armor. Clone Trooper Phase 1 armor is the original mass-produced armor for the Grand Army of the Republic, and it's as over-engineered as it is iconic. Imagine 20 rigid plastoid alloy plates strapped over a full-body pressurized black glove that controls temperature and seals you off from hazardous environments. The design wasn't about fashion or mobility. It was pure, broad-spectrum protection, engineered to handle anything from blaster fire and shrapnel to extreme temperatures, chemicals, and even brief exposure to vacuum. The helmet? It was a high-tech marvel for its time, fully sealed for atmospheric hazards, with built-in communication, filtration, and sensor systems. This meant clones could deploy almost anywhere in the galaxy, from scorched deserts to frozen wastelands, and still keep fighting without swapping gear. The Phase 1 armor was a symbol of early military industrialization on Kamino, making the clones feel less like individuals and more like uniformed soldiers stamped out on an assembly line. And that leads to an interesting tension. The armor was heavy and clunky, restricting movement significantly. Clones wearing it often looked stiff and robotic, reinforcing their role as faceless infantry rather than unique personalities. Individuality was minimized. Everyone looked exactly the same, all buttoned up in these identical shells. It was as if survival trumped style or comfort every time. Fan debates about Phase 1 armor are endless. Official lore praises its theoretical resilience, highlighting environmental sealing and strong protection against weapons and hazards. Yet, in the films and shows, clones go down from what looks like a single blaster shot through the armor, making it feel fragile. The truth is probably somewhere in between. The armor helped with survivability overall, but wasn't invincible. Glancing blows and environmental dangers were manageable, but well-placed shots to weak spots could still take a clone out. Ultimately, Phase 1 armor is foundational, marking the Republic's rapid militarization and the beginning of the clone soldier's journey. It's the suit of the many before individuality starts to creep in. And if you think that bulky white shell was protective, wait until we get into the leaner, meaner Phase 2 armor. Clone Trooper Phase 2. Armor Phase 2. Armor is where clone armor really steps up from the bulky, almost robotic feel of Phase 1 into something that feels tactical, adaptable, and yes, more comfortable. The plastoid composite plates remain mounted over the familiar pressurized black body glove, but this time, the materials are optimized for lighter weight and better ergonomics. It's not just about protection anymore. It's about getting the job done without the suit wearing you down during long deployments. The helmet redesign is one of the biggest changes. Phase 2 helmets feature advanced filtration systems to keep out toxins and contaminants, better sensor packages for improved battlefield awareness, and a shape that hints strongly at the Stormtrooper helmets to come. This upgrade represented a major investment in individual trooper effectiveness as the war dragged on. Unlike the uniform, almost faceless clones in Phase 1, Phase 2 armor comes with an emphasis on color customization and modular add-ons, especially for elite units like the 501st Legion. Suddenly, paint jobs, unit symbols, and personalized touches weren't just decoration. They were badges of identity for a clone who was no longer just a number but a soldier with some degree of personality. Modular pieces such as additional packs, pauldron-style shoulder armor, and specialized helmets became common, balancing protection and mission flexibility. This refinement also meant a bit less raw durability compared to Phase 1's heavy plates, but the trade-off was greater mobility and adaptability for varied combat roles. It's armor built to match complex real battlefields, from urban engagements to extended sieges, rather than just protecting clones from a blaster bolt or two. Here's the thing, Phase 2 armor symbolizes a turning point. It's the technological and political bridge from Republic clone troopers to the Galactic Empire stormtroopers. The armor visually captures the tension of clone individuality trapped within a control system. Colors and customization scream uniqueness, but always beneath the surface is the looming inhibitor chip, a reminder these soldiers are still controlled assets. The silhouette of Phase 2 helmets sets the stage for the Imperial design, showing how much of the Empire's image was born from a repurposed clone army. So while Phase 2 armor might look sleeker, it carries the weight of the clone's tragic fate. Tools of war gradually stripped of freedom and march toward the rise of the Empire. But if you think Phase 2's balance of comfort, offense, and defense is impressive, wait until you see the specialized Katarn-class commando armor built for the deadliest clone warriors. Clone Commando Katarn-class armor. Katarn-class commando armor is like the Terminator of Republic gear, heavy-duty, blast-resistant, and made for elite clone commandos who dive headfirst into battles. This isn't your average clone armor. It's built with composite plating tough enough to shrug off point-blank blaster hits and brutal environmental dangers that would reduce normal troopers to ashes. Before you picture a clunky suit, hear me out. Despite its heavy protection, Katarn armor lets commandos move swiftly. Because these guys aren't marching in formation, they slip behind enemy lines, survive harsh environments, and plant explosives where heavier gear would slow them down. The suit fully seals around them, with built-in life support for operations in vacuum and toxic zones. While exact survival times in space aren't clear, this gear is mission-critical for sabotage and deep strikes. Integrated backpacks carry grenades and sabotage tools, letting commandos keep everything handy without bogging movement. The gauntlets have reinforced knuckle plates. No metal fists, despite fan theories, but solid protection for brutal close combat. Every joint has shock absorbers, so they can take hits, land hard, and keep fighting without the suit breaking or restricting movement. What really sets Katarn armor apart is its balance of heavy defense with practical combat needs. It withstands blaster fire even at point-blank range, where standard clone suits would fail. It's designed for close quarters too, with reinforced knuckles, shock-mitigating joints, and small built-in blades, making it perfect for ambush and sabotage, not just shooting from cover. Yet commandos personalize their armor's color schemes, a rare privilege in the otherwise uniform clone ranks, showing off their elite status and individual skill. Tactically, these commandos are the Republic's surgical strike teams. Small squads carry out high-risk demolition, infiltration, and deep missions behind enemy lines, tasks that demand gear you can rely on when everything goes sideways explosively. Their life support and sealing let them hold breath in vacuum silence or crawl through toxic ruins without flinching. This suit fights war on every front, not just the firefight. Lore-wise, Katarn armor shows the tension between clone uniformity and individuality. Regular clones wear nearly identical sets, but commandos step toward a warrior's bespoke edge. It's not early Mandalorian armor. The Mandalorian style developed separately much earlier. Fans see Katarn armor as the peak of Republic tech, blending clone army efficiency with elite flexibility. It's a suit that saved lives, made legends, and stands for commandos walking a razor's edge. But here's the kicker. Most detailed info about Katarn armor comes from extended canon and legends, not the main films. That keeps some specs fuzzy but drives fan fascination and debate. How many close blasts can it survive? What secrets lurk in those backpacks? Regardless, its reputation as nearly indestructible and mission-ready is solid. If that sounds intense, wait until you see what Imperial Stormtrooper armor brought. Imperial Stormtrooper armor. Imperial Stormtrooper armor is the ultimate icon of the Empire's iron grip, a mass-produced symbol of control as much as protection. Made from 18 overlapping plastoid composite plates over a black body glove, it balanced widespread manufacturing with battlefield survivability. These plates weren't just for show, they dispersed blaster energy and offered solid defense against shrapnel and slug thrower rounds. Meanwhile, the body glove regulated temperature and moisture to keep troopers functional in all climates. Here's the kicker. The armor was fully sealed against chemical and biological weapons and even short vacuum exposure with integrated air filtration. This meant stormtroopers could march into toxic battlefields or perform damage control on disabled starships without extra breathing gear. Pretty high tech for the Empire's cookie-cutter soldiers, right? The uniform white shells served dual purposes: anonymity and psychological intimidation. The Empire wiped out individuality. Troopers became faceless enforcers of the regime's will, visually indistinguishable to reinforce obedience and fear. This was a huge shift from their clone trooper predecessors, who at least had unit markings. The stormtrooper's gleaming white helmet became a blank, cold mask, projecting order and oppression. Of course, none of this matches how stormtroopers perform on screen. They famously get taken down by single blaster bolts, sometimes from rebels with primitive weapons or Ewok slingshots. This gave birth to the franchise's most relentless meme, "Stormtroopers can't shoot." Fans still debate how this makes sense when the armor is canonically solid protective gear with advanced systems, the usual in-universe explanation. Troopers are often ordered to hold fire to let heroes escape or face vulnerabilities their armor can't cover. Plus, shots fired at weak points or unarmored gaps are usually the problem. Plenty of those. Still, the lore confirms stormtrooper armor wasn't a joke. It was produced en masse by factories like those on Gilvanin, designed to be good enough for the Empire's shock troops. The plastoid plates offered decent energy dispersion and protection balanced for mobility. The sealed suits made them suitable for many hostile environments without needing an overload of specialized variants. It's an engineered compromise between defense, cost efficiency, and psychological dominance. In many ways, the armor's symbolism eclipses practicality. It erased soldiers' identities, turning trained individuals into faceless agents of repression. The stark whiteness was chosen not just for visibility, but to intimidate, and to make rebellion seem smaller and less human. So yes, stormtrooper armor did what it was designed to, suppress a galaxy through force and terrifying visuals. But if you think these white armored shadows are bad, wait until you see the Scout Troopers. Imperial Scout Trooper armor is up next. Imperial Scout Trooper armor. Scout Trooper armor is the Empire's answer to a simple tactical problem. How do you protect troops who need to move fast, see clearly, and react instantly in unpredictable terrain? Unlike the bulky, heavy stormtrooper armor designed for straightforward shock tactics, Scout Trooper armor is stripped down, lightweight plastoid that favors speed and agility over full body coverage. The plating on the torso, limbs, and joints is reduced significantly, giving these soldiers the flexibility and mobility to handle reconnaissance and rapid response missions where a slow, encumbered soldier is dead weight. Before you argue about them being underprotected, hear me out. Their helmet alone is radically reworked from the traditional stormtrooper design. It features a slimmer profile and a visor optimized for wider peripheral vision and better communication, trading off the airtight sealed environment of regular stormtrooper helmets. This isn't meant for heavy frontline combat where toxic gas or vacuum environments are common threats. Instead, Scout helmets focus on situational functionality, letting troopers spot threats quickly and relay intel without sensory obstruction. The Empire mainly deployed Scout troopers on the forest moon of Endor during the famous events around the second Death Star. Their armor was tailor-made for that dense, wooded terrain. Patrolling swiftly on speeder bikes or scaling rough terrain, these troopers relied on their enhanced mobility to outmaneuver enemies rather than to tank hits. Their armor could stop shrapnel and small arms fire, but sustained firefights against skilled adversaries exposed its vulnerabilities. Endor's uneven environment demanded that Scout troopers survive by moving fast and staying unpredictable, not by absorbing punishment. What makes Scout trooper armor fascinating is the way it reveals the Empire's tactical flexibility within a rigid military machine. It breaks from the standard heavy stormtrooper mold to meet a very specific operational need, light recon and rapid engagement, showing that Imperial armor wasn't just one size fits all. These suits signal a balance, enough protection to survive decent hits, but light enough to not sacrifice speed. Among fans, Scout troopers often enjoy a reputation as the cooler, more practical soldiers compared to the clunky standard stormtroopers, and that is supported by the armor's deliberate trade-off. The Empire knowingly sacrificed some protection so these troops could handle unique battlefield roles where speed and vision trumped bulk. It's armor built for survival through mobility, not deflection. Compared to full stormtrooper gear, Scout armor feels like the Empire's nod to the harsh realities of jungle warfare and guerrilla-style engagements. But if you think sacrificing raw protection is risky, wait till you see how Rebel Commandos took a different approach altogether. Rebel Commando armor. Rebel Commando armor is the exact opposite of Imperial uniformity, a patchwork of hybrid fabrics and light armor plates designed to maximize stealth, comfort, and flexibility over raw protection. Instead of full plastoid shells like stormtroopers or clone commandos, these suits lean heavily on durable but breathable materials, combined with partial hardened panels positioned to protect vital areas without weighing down the wearer or restricting movement. Before you dismiss this as just less armor, hear me out. This gear is a perfect fit for guerrilla warfare. Camouflage and asymmetry are the name of the game. Every piece is carefully chosen or scavenged, creating a heterogeneous look that blends into environments like Endor's forest, rather than drawing attention. The focus is on quick hit-and-run tactics, infiltration, and sabotage, not on standing toe-to-toe in direct firefights. This is reflected in the layered modular construction. The commandos wear camo ponchos or jackets with armored vests underneath, helmets with partial face coverage, and plenty of utility pouches. It's armor that supports guerrillas rather than shock troops. The Endor Strike Team, famously led by Han Solo and including Leia, Luke, and others, used this style precisely because it was practical for their mission, sneaking past stormtrooper patrols, disabling the shield generator, and surviving in dense, difficult terrain. They needed protection enough to deflect some blaster glances, but relied primarily on staying unseen, moving quietly, and using the environment to their advantage. This armor is also a potent symbol. It visually embodies the rebel spirit, resistance, individuality, and resourcefulness under pressure. Each commando's gear is unique, reinforcing their identity as underdogs, fighting a vast, impersonal empire. The stark contrast to the mass-produced, gleaming white of stormtroopers couldn't be clearer. This isn't just a tactical choice, it's a visual narrative of defiance. Fans resonate strongly with the Rebel Commando aesthetic because it feels grounded and realistic, something that could actually be worn by insurgents struggling with limited supply lines, forced to adapt and improvise gear in the field. While hard technical specs are sparse, everything from their deployment in guerrilla operations to the practical design cues points toward a focus on usability and survival over invulnerability. Here's where it gets interesting. Rebel Commandos show armor doesn't have to be about heavy plating and brute force. Sometimes winning means keeping your profile low, staying flexible, and outsmarting an opponent with better resources. If you think that's impressive, wait until you see the next armor type. One that combines cutting-edge technology with a life-or-death battle for survival inside a living suit. Next up, Darth Vader's Cybernetic Life Support Armor. Darth Vader's Cybernetic Life Support Armor. Darth Vader's armor isn't just about protection, it's a fully integrated life support exoskeleton that keeps the Dark Lord alive after near-fatal injuries. Crafted from an alloy cocktail of Durasteel, Plasteel, Plastoid, and even Obsidian, this suit is a walking machine of survival tech and intimidation, blending raw defense with cybernetic life support systems wired directly into his very nervous system. Before you imagine just a fancy set of metal plates, hear me out. This suit literally breathes for Vader. His helmet houses a respirator tightly integrated with neural interfaces, while embedded sensors provide constant feedback to his cybernetic limbs. The armor regulates oxygen flow, temperature, medication doses, and responds to Vader's neural commands like a brutal mechanical heartbeat. Without this symbiosis, his crushed lungs and devastated organs would collapse. It's less armor and more a second, robotic body he can't leave behind. The materials themselves combine to create the ultimate battlefield shell. Durasteel and Plasteel reinforce his chest and limbs, providing substantial resistance to blaster fire, and shrapnel. The plastoid layers add padding and insulation. Obsidian elements possibly serve both aesthetic and functional purposes, maybe extra heat resistance or simply to echo Sith iconography. This multi-layer defense is said to even offer limited protection against glancing lightsaber strikes, though sustained hits can still break through. It's like Vader's wearing a shield and scaffold all at once. The helmet is a masterpiece of sinister engineering. Beneath that iconic black dome lies a respirator and sensory suite designed to sense and filter the environment, linked directly to his cybernetic nervous system to maintain real-time control. Neural needles extend into his skull, controlling prosthetic limbs and processing suit commands. It also amplifies Vader's terrifying battlefield presence. The mechanical breathing itself became a psychological weapon, striking dread into enemies before a single strike lands. But here's where it gets dark. This armor isn't just protection, it's a prison. Its life support systems are fragile and tether him in place. The suit weighs him down, limiting movement, and is uncomfortable by design. Emperor Palpatine engineered it to maintain control over his apprentice by restricting his independence. Behind the imposing shell lies a man imprisoned by technology and pain. His combat prowess comes at the cost of constant agony and reliance on this mechanical cage. This tension between ultimate protection and physical imprisonment is part of what makes Vader's suit so tragic and heroic simultaneously. It's both weapon and shackle, empowering a Sith Lord while reminding him of his fall and loss. Fans debate endlessly about how much protection the armor truly provides. Some say it can withstand several lightsaber blows, others highlight moments where it's clearly vulnerable. Its vast cybernetic complexity also introduces unusual weaknesses, like susceptibility to electrical attacks targeting its integrated systems, but the lore and evidence are clear. Vader's armor is a fusion of cutting-edge technology and dark Sith alchemy designed to keep a broken man alive and monstrous. Without it, there is no Darth Vader. With it, he's an unstoppable juggernaut shaped equally by science, sorcery, and tragedy. If you think life in the suit sounds grim, just wait till you see the stark contrast with the mass-produced anonymity of the First Order's Stormtrooper armor coming next. First Order, Stormtrooper Armor. First Order, Stormtrooper Armor is the sleek evolution of classic Imperial design, blending key elements of Clone Trooper Phase 1 and Phase 2 armor with the plastoid over black glove look that defined Stormtrooper gear for decades. But it's not just a remake. The armor smooths sharp edges into contoured shapes and swaps the separate eye lenses for a continuous, sweeping visor helmet that wraps around the face, giving it a futuristic, aerodynamic feel. Before you dismiss it as just another Stormtrooper suit, hear me out. The visor isn't just style, it improves ergonomics and expands the field of vision, a nod to better troop comfort after decades of armored infantry dealing with limited sight. The off-white color with subtle gray replaces the Empire's bright white, signaling both homage and a clear technological upgrade. It's like the First Order saying, "We're the Empire's heirs, but smarter, faster, and more efficient." These suits weren't designed for mercenaries or volunteers. First Order stormtroopers are shock troops, mostly abducted and indoctrinated from childhood. Their armor serves as a tool of control, uniformed to erase identity and enforce obedience. Unlike the colorful personalization in late Clone or Rebel Commando armor, First Order gear limits customization. Troopers are faceless cogs, their individuality scrubbed by sleek helmets and sterile shells. The visual message? Unmatched discipline enforced by tech and psychological dominance. Throughout the sequel trilogy, they wear this armor in battles from Jakku's sands to Starkiller Base and Crate's snowy wastes. They represent a terrifying blend of ideological continuity and brutal modernization, a visual bridge from the Empire's cold mechanization to a tighter regime grip. The armor may not be a radical materials leap, but design tweaks hint at marginal improvements in flexibility, sensor systems, and environmental sealing, enough to keep pace without betraying tradition. Fan reactions capture it well. Many praise the armor's sleek, streamlined look as a smart refresh honoring Star Wars tradition, while others call it too smooth or lacking character. Performance-wise, troopers inside don't outmatch their Imperial predecessors, still average shooters, easily overwhelmed in combat scenes. But the real symbolism is lost identity, a uniform for alienated soldiers embodying a ruthless regime's will. Here's the thing. This armor shows the tension between modernization and dehumanization, an echo of the old Empire tuned for tighter troop control and zero individuality. But if you think that's cold, wait until we get to the Mandalorian's Beskar armor, a suit as much about personal legacy as protection. Beskar Mandalorian armor. Beskar Mandalorian armor isn't just armor, it's a legend forged in metal. Made from the rare and nearly mythical Beskar alloy, this armor offers protection that blows past ordinary plastoid composites. It can shrug off blaster bolts and even withstand brief contact with a lightsaber, something no other mainstream armor in Star Wars can claim. That's not just hype, it's a game-changing advantage Mandalorians have relied on for centuries. Now, before you think it's just armor, hear me out. Beskar plates aren't slapped on a generic outfit. Each set is custom forged, designed to balance top-tier defense with the Mandalorian's need for agility. The plates, usually chest, shoulders, shins, helmet, sometimes arms, are layered over a flexible flight suit. This combo gives the wearer freedom of movement without sacrificing elite protection. Beskar's unique hardness means thinner plates outperform bulkier blast-resistant armor like that of Imperial or clone troopers, crucial in fast, close-quarters combat. But Beskar armor is more than practical tech. It's a symbol tightly woven into Mandalorian culture. Every chest plate can bear clan sigils, ancient markings, or personalized etchings. To wear Beskar is to wear your heritage, creed, and honor all at once. The forging is a deeply reverent process, often accompanied by ritual and storytelling. It's not mass-produced, it's sacred craftsmanship passed down through generations. This isn't armor, it's a walking legacy. In battle, Mandalorians fight fiercely confident because their Beskar armor offers rare resilience. It invites aggressive tactics, even against lightsaber-wielding foes. The integrated modularity goes beyond protection. Flamethrowers hidden in gauntlets, wrist rockets ready for quick fire, grappling hooks built in. The suit is as much weapon platform as shield, reflecting the elite warrior ethos of the last true mercenaries, and sometimes bounty hunters of the Outer Rim. Here's where it gets more interesting. Fan debates about Beskar's limits still rage. It's not invincible. Lightsabers can slice through eventually, especially with repeated or powerful strikes. And while it deflects blasters, sustained heavy fire can damage it. But the cultural weight of Beskar mystifies these limits, placing it between physical armor and mythic talisman. You'll hear debates about, can Beskar stop a Star Destroyer turret blast? Or how many saber strikes until it gives? The truth? Beskar represents both ultimate practicality and legendary status, a fusion Star Wars loves to play with. Adding to its mystique, Beskar's environmental durability is unmatched. It endures hostile climates, extreme temperatures, and corrosive elements better than any other armor type. This fits with Mandalorian's nomadic and battle-hardened history. Beskar isn't just for show. It's built to survive whatever the galaxy throws. If you think Beskar is the pinnacle of Star Wars armor tech, you're right, but it's also the final evolution of armor storytelling here. Clone and Stormtrooper armor tell stories of mass production, conformity, and state control, while Beskar tells a personal story of survival, clan loyalty, and ancient pride. It's the physical embodiment of the Mandalorian creed, uniting technology and culture like no other armor, and that's why it resonates so deeply. Beskar tells you everything about Mandalorians without a word spoken. It's the last stand in a galaxy of mass armies, a rare, sacred shield for a warrior people holding fast to their identity in a chaotic universe. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.